Good evening. Once again, it's Monday night, it's 8 o'clock, and it's time for the Monday Review Show. For those of you who have not tuned in and are now for the first time, you're more than welcome. For those of you who tune in every week, thank you for staying with us. This is the show where we discuss all things referees and refereeing, and we also talk about decisions, yellow cards, red cards, anything to do with refereeing. Now, if you'd like to make a comment, you can do so. The little thing down there on the right-hand side of your screen certainly is on mine. And you can send in your comments there and you can ask your questions, or you can look for clarification on something maybe that you've seen or heard and you weren't sure about. We will certainly do our level best to help you on that. I'm delighted to be joined once again by former Premier League referee, former FIFA referee, former head of the PGMOL, and I should have mentioned earlier that the man responsible for goal line technology, which is working very, very effectively. Keith Hackett, thanks again for joining me.
Delighted to be on the show.
Thanks,
really
Keith.
Delighted.
Now, there's a new change to the, people are calling it rule, but they're not the rules, they're laws of the game. And it's dealing with goalkeepers. So from next season, they're going to bring in a new system about goalkeepers holding on to the ball far too long. So just to let the people know, not that long ago, it was 6 seconds. The goalkeeper was allowed to have the ball in his hands for 6 seconds, after which he had to either kick it into play or certainly, at the very least, had to drop the ball and put it on the ground. And then he could not pick it up again until it had been touched or played by another player, not the goalkeeper. If the goalkeeper picked it up again, it would be an indirect free kick against him. Now, that was for 6 seconds. And then there was a lot of hoo-ha about this, that, and the other. So then they thought, oh, why don't we extend it to 8 seconds? As if that's going to make any difference. And it hasn't. I regularly see, and only last week in the FA Cup semi-finals, goalkeepers holding on to the ball consistently 15 seconds, sometimes 20 seconds, and referees doing nothing about it. Now, in simple terms, the referees are not doing their job. They should be enforcing that. So, Keith, I'll let you bring the happy news to the changes to the law, which are going to happen from the start of next season.
Yeah, and of course, we'll include pre-season games. And this operates at all levels of the game. So this isn't just the Premier League here in England. This is at grassroots level, all that goes off.
You're all the way down to grassroots, Sunday morning games. And that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's quite specific. It's based on research that the IFAB have done. It states very clearly that 6 seconds, the current law, has not been applied. And therefore, they've looked and examined games. They've run trial matches in 3 countries, and on doing that, they've recognised that the average time in which a goalkeeper puts the ball into play is around 8 seconds. So hence, that's how they move from 6 to 8 seconds. We've also got to recognise that it starts at the point at which the goalkeeper is in possession of the ball in his hands or arms. So that's when the count starts. And the recommendation, very clearly, they've done the sketches in the new to be Laws of the Game handbook that will be published or online. They've drawn a little man and with his arms in the air, and from 5 seconds down, the referee is expected to do the countdown. So, 8 seconds, he's got to release the ball. And if he fails to do that, it's no longer the award of an indirect free kick, because they believe that one of the reasons that the law of 6 seconds has not been applied is because referees knew that to apply an indirect free kick would be difficult. In their experimentation, they looked at even awarding a throw-in. But now the law is very clear. They're going to award a corner kick. And so here's the first thing. Of course, I did a 1 hour program for BBC Radio Sheffield last week and was asked a number of questions on this particular law. So the first thing I can say is that when the corner kick is taken, it's on the side nearest to the goalkeeper. So if the goalkeeper is to the right-hand side of the penalty area, that's where the corner kick is taken.
But you know, just on that, Keith, please, if I can stop you. I mean, the whole issue of the goal kick, when a ball went out for a goal kick, it was to be taken initially on the side that the ball went out. So then they decided, no, let's put it either side to speed up the game, and that's not happening.
No, well, I mean, it's not. For me, that's one aspect that's not worked. But here, what they've done is they've looked at this second row. Currently, I mean, lots of people didn't think it existed. They thought it had been binned years ago. I mean, I spent most of the season saying, no, it's still there. It's in the laws currently.
Yeah.
What they've done is, it's quite interesting because they've actually done, the IFAB have carried out in England, Italy and Malta, right?
Yeah.
Through independent referee observers as well. And they've trialled 179 matches. And this is how they've got to the 8 seconds. So when they've applied the 8 seconds, 63% of those participants have said that it had a positive impact on the game. 72% said the game was faster. And 87% said the 5-second countdown by the referee was helpful. So what we've got now is you referees out there, and there are many that listen to this show, next season, you need to practice it in your pre-season games because it applies there. First of all, the goalkeeper's in possession of the ball in his hands, and you start the count. After 3 seconds, you raise your hand in the air, vertically, and presumably with your fingers, you're going 5, 4, 3, 2. And at that point, if he's not released it, you're blowing and awarding a corner kick.
So, Keith. Oh, my God. Who comes up with these things? I don't know. Is this part of Arsene Wenger's thing? I don't know what he's even there for. But anyway.
I mean, I don't know. I think that when we look at the game as a whole, I think we will only get a positive impact on the game at the highest level, on the timing of matches, personally, when we go to an independent timekeeper, take the entire thing away from the referees, right, and introduce a countdown clock accordingly. So, and maybe then play around with the time and that's played. However, it seems to me that they're saying what we want is that we want to speed up the game. We want to keep the game flowing. We know full well that the one law change that has impacted on the game in a positive manner is the pass back law or the pass to the goalkeeper. It definitely impacted on the speed of the game. So what we've got here is we've got the award of a corner kick. You and I know that there is another problem with refereeing at the awarding of the corner kicks. First one, the nonsense of the ball placement and the ball being often outside the quadrant, completely outside the quadrant, causing a degree of concern with fans. And the second one is the amount of time the referees waste going in and saying to defender A and attacker A, behave yourselves, I'm watching you, rather than actually saying, my view would be, you've awarded a corner kick, signal for that corner kick to be taken once the ball is correctly positioned, and then penalise if there are offences. penalty kick or free kick, whatever, but penalise it. Then 100%. You'll stop the nonsense that's going off in the penalty area. The other thing that I think they've missed out on here in all the law changes is, we've got time wasting with the goalkeeper laying on the ball. That's one. The second one is where we've got.
Keith, it must be made clear that while he's lying on the ball, the countdown should be starting because
and I think that in fairness is in the law. It's in the advice to referees, questions and answers. Right. And I'll try and find that whilst we're talking.
But can I just interrupt here, Keith, about giving a corner kick? How can you give a corner kick because the ball is still in play? A corner kick is usually for ball has been put out of play by a defender, but the ball is still in play. So how do they justify that? Why, because, in heaven's name, why didn't they just enforce the law, either the 6 or the 8 seconds, and leave it at that and give an indirect free kick? I mean, I know you don't know, but I'm just asking your opinion.
Well, I mean, that the argument for not giving an indirect free kick is because they've clearly questioned referees not applying the 6-second law. And one of the reasons that they've come up with is because they were fearful of awarding an indirect free kick in the penalty area. So what they're saying now is the law's clear. If you award, if you penalise the goalkeeper for holding the ball, being in possession for longer than 8 seconds, then at that point the game is, you've blown the whistle, the game is stopped, and the restart is a corner kick.
Oh, okay.
And they've come up with that because they've been working at this experiment and recognise that is the impact and has a positive aspect on this particular law change.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Very good friend of mine, Don Harris, has brought in a question here. And Don, I'll come to it in just a second because it gets away from, I'll just move it down the schedule, if you like, a little bit. It'll be interesting, Keith, to see how many of the referees will apply this 8-second rule. I mean, it's almost like basketball, where you must get out of your own half with the ball within 5 seconds. But I do agree with what you said. They should stick it up on the big clock, like they do in rugby. When there's for the conversion kick, they have it on the clock and it's on the big clock. This is going to cause a lot of problems, I think. I think it's going to cause more problems than it's going to solve because some referees are going to be accused of, not counting the 8 seconds, or was it 8 seconds or 7 seconds or 9 seconds? Put it up on the clock and it's there for all to see. I think, as I say, we'll watch this with interest.
Let me just tell you here in
Ireland. Sorry, there was a game here in Ireland during last week, and I did put the video up on.
Can
Facebook.
I go back? Can I just go back to that goalkeeper one?
Yeah,
8 seconds. The reason being, you asked the question. I'm going to give you the answer. When does the 8-second count start? The 8-second start when the referee is satisfied that the goalkeeper has clear control of the ball with their hands and arms. The goalkeeper does not need to be standing up for the countdown to start, especially because in many examples of time wasting, the goalkeeper catches the ball, falls unnecessarily to the ground, and then stays there for some time, even though no one is preventing them from standing up. So they've made that very point, that very clear, I think.
Excellent.
Sorry, go on now.
No, excellent. I knew it was somewhere. That because the goalkeepers do unnecessarily lie on the ball for far too long, and then they think they have another 6 or 8 seconds while they're standing up. Yeah. But that's from the moment they are in control of the ball with the hands or their arms,
correct,
standing up or on the ground, the 8 seconds starts.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Keith, for that. That'll come out in the new law book, I guess.
Yes.
for 25-26 season.
Yeah.
Right. I put up a video on Facebook last week, and as I said, Don, I'm not forgetting about you. I will come back to you in a couple of minutes. Incidentally, for those of you who are watching, you're watching the Monday Review Show, and I'm always meaning to come in halfway through or so and mention this. You're watching the Monday Review Show, and I'm delighted to be joined by Keith Hackett, former Premier League, former FIFA referee, and former head of the PGMOL, and the man responsible for introducing the goal line technology, which is working fantastically well. I put up a video of a game here in the League of Ireland where it was a goal kick, and the usual way now, they don't kick it out because they don't. Defenders don't have to be outside the penalty box. So if I could just put the thing in context and paint a picture, the two defenders are standing one either side of the goalkeeper, and there's an attacker on the edge of the penalty area, and the ball is played by the defender to the goalkeeper, who then is going to clear it out. But in the meantime, the attacker had run in, blocked the clearance, and the ball went into the net. He started celebrating, thought he had a goal, but the referee disallowed the goal. Now, there was lots of confusion about this and many questions asked, but the assistant had brought the attention of the referee to the fact that the attacker appeared to have 1 foot on the penalty area line. Now, for those familiar with the laws of the game, the law clearly states that the lines on the field of play belong to the areas of which they are boundaries. And it appeared that the goalkeeper, the attacker, had 1 foot on that line. So technically, he was deemed to be inside when the kick was being cleared, and therefore, the goal was disallowed. Now, many people said, "Oh no, it was only when the goalkeeper made it." No, it wasn't. I've watched it 100 times. It's when the ball was played, then the goal kick was taken. In other words, and so the goal was disallowed. I put that up on the video for you too, Keith. Would you concur with that answer?
Yes. I mean, what we've got to understand here is the law states if when a goal kick is taken, any opponents are inside the penalty area because they did not have time to leave, the referee allows play to continue. If an opponent who is in the penalty area when the goal kick is taken or enters the penalty area before the ball is in play, touches or challenges for the ball before it is in play, the goal kick is retaken. So here we have a player who has got 1 foot on the line, therefore is not outside the penalty area, and therefore that is why he was penalised, and if you like, the goal that resulted disallowed. So I think it's a brilliant spot by the assistant referee.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and great courage to actually signal that. There wasn't that level of clarity in the videos when I looked at them. It didn't seem to give that level of clarity. But there you are having an explanation of those who were at the match, and well done to that assistant referee for bringing it to attention. I think it was I think the pity here is there's a lot of discussion, a lot of debate. Why didn't he come out immediately after the game and explain fully why this was disallowed? To give clarity. Yeah. A nice one.
Okay, I want to give you Don, who's a very good friend of mine, and he's asked this question, Keith. Evening, gentlemen. I enjoyed the show. Thank you, Don. Could you discuss, please, the issue of players surrounding the referee? With rugby, only the captain can engage and dispute a decision. Also, linked to your first issue, the number of steps allowed for a goalkeeper with the ball in his hands.
Wow. Good question. Right. In the English Premier League, when a referee is surrounded by 3 or more players, that is the subject of a report, and the outcome more frequently is that the club is charged for failing to control their players. And you will see, if you look through the records, there's been some heavy fines. The Premier League, unlike UEFA and FIFA, where they determined that only the captain could speak to the referee, which I believe is positive, and has had positive aspects in terms of control. It's that link of communication. And one of the reasons I'm so positive about it is that when I was the boss of the PGMOL, I introduced 1 hour before kickoff the exchange of team sheets. Those team sheets are accompanied by the coach, manager, and the captain of the team. And that then is an introduction of the 2 captains with the referee in the dressing room, where the referee must say, I recognise you as captain. You don't have many powers in the laws of the game, but I'm going to use you as a conduit. When I see a player moving a little bit out of control, I'm going to have a word with you, and I expect you as captain to apply some approach to that player and apply a degree of pressure on him to cease his contribution. So the IFAB are quite clean. I think it's worked really well in Europe. But the old Premier League, no, we're not going to do that. We don't want to restrict. And I think the degree of the strength of the clubs over the referee organisation, let me tell you, I faced that level of pressure. And I said, we will referee the game as per the laws of the game, and we will apply the laws, right? You cannot dictate to me how I referee or how my group of referees officiate. That is dictated through the Football Association by the IFAB. Simple as that. But what have we got? If we've got weak management, a lack of leadership, which I think has existed now for a good 10 years, and sadly Howard Webb not impacting it, they can't see the wisdom of having the captain of the team. Now, somebody said to me a couple of weeks ago, this was raised, what if the goalkeeper is the captain? The captain is the goalkeeper. Well, then what was the arrangement by UEFA is that they designate then a person who can approach. And this has reduced it, you know. So once that's in place, then referees have enforced the law. You know, it doesn't exonerate the captain. If he comes up and he's having a mouth and it's unacceptable, then he gets a caution or a yellow card for dissent. So I'm quite clear on that.
I think, Keith, you know, if the referees were just had a little bit more backbone, you know, what's worked very well. Well, the goal line technology, which you introduced, is very, very good. There's no dispute, no contest there. But the thing about a player who has been tackled, or maybe sometimes not even tackled, and he's holding up his hand, indicating a yellow card, he immediately gets booked. And that's cut that out almost entirely. So why can't they enforce the other parts of the law as well, like the 6 second or 8 seconds with the goalkeeper? And they've only got to enforce it time and again, and eventually the players will catch on, because when there's weakness on the part of the referee, they will certainly take advantage. There was just one part there to Don's, the second part, where he says, also linked to your first issue, the number of steps allowed for a goalkeeper with the ball in hands. Well, Don, that's been changed some time ago, when they were initially only allowed to take 4 steps with the ball. Now they can take 104 if they wish. The main issue is the time that they have control of the ball, that it's in their hands or arms, and that they have full control of it. So that issue of 4 steps has now been done away with. The
point that I entirely agree with Don is that, having watched the Six Nations, not understanding fully the laws of the game for rugby, the one thing that I think is outstanding is actually the officiating.
Yeah.
I think, and this is about courage, conviction, a degree of common sense, but control. And they adopt a very proactive approach in their style of officiating across the group. And I think it's over a number of years. I mean, I watch and I'm thinking, here are these brutes smacking each other fairly forcibly, with a lot of physical contact that I personally couldn't endure. And the referee communicates so thoroughly. And of course, when there's something that is in dispute, like, touchdown or a lack of touchdown, the work and the communication with great clarity between the TMO and the referee, and you just go, why can't we have that in referee?
Indeed.
And it seems to me that we argue about players' behavior in football, soccer, as against rugby. But I think that's managed out of the game by the referees at rugby.
Yeah.
With their firm control. And what is amazing is they get control, they maintain control, they make tough calls that we don't always agree with, but the players give them huge amount of respect. And they likewise with the players. I know that football's a different game, but why should it be a different game?
Yeah. And
why should players give it more respect?
There's such respect by the players for the match official. I mean, I've seen guys getting a yellow card and they sort of tap the referee on the back as they're going off, say, okay, I accepted it. But it's, I mean, I still think it's our fault, Keith. I still think the referees in football are not doing their job. And because of that, players naturally will take full advantage of it to gain whatever they can for themselves. But if the referees were a lot more strict and clamp down on this dissent, be it word or action, I think, and if they knew that was going to happen in every game, I think the coaches would certainly soon catch on, and the players would catch on, and they would stop this nonsense. But so long as the referees are showing any kind of weakness, it's human nature. They're going to take full advantage of it.
6 seconds, and we're adjusting the laws of the game to accommodate weak refereeing.
100%. 110%.
Yeah.
I got another comment here from Brandon, who's a regular viewer as well.
Hi, Brandon.
He says, as long as the goalkeeper is not impeded or challenged, the ref should be counting. Not sure what you mean by that now.
I'll tell you. Brandon's cognitive skills with regard to law application is simply outstanding. Because what he has done, quite rightly here, and I praise him for it because I raised this issue. We're assuming that this law is going to work really well because we're not taking into account the coaches. And the coaches are going to say, at goal kick or the kicking of the ball, we want a player on that goalkeeper. So now, how strong are the referees going to be in relation to the impeding of the goalkeeper?
I think.
Go on. Yeah. So, or the forward who has committed an offence when he interferes with the kicking of the ball, i.e., a raised foot, or he makes a challenge, or he nudges the goalkeeper when he's about. This happened in Scotland this weekend, by the way. The goalkeeper was about to release the ball. A player ran in front of him, impeded him. And the ball bounced back into the goal. So a goal was scored. And the referee, quite rightly, penalised the unfair impeding by the goalkeeper. So Brandon is spot on. Watch this space.
Indeed. Well, again, my goodness, the time goes so quickly. Keith, thanks very much.
Pleasure.
There'll be lots more to discuss next week when we do it all again. Thank you out there for watching. Thanks, Don. Thanks, Brandon, for your comments. Next Monday, again, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, thank you very much and goodbye. Thank you, Keith.
Right.